Now I rest with my neighbors, these warbirds of old that protected us from harm. Their stories have been told. So I thank you, each one who did this for me. I'm glad you remembered what I used to be.
A small piece of steel with a larger-than-life meaning. Once standing as part of the World Trade Center in New York, this beam now rests in Myrtle Beach. Retired first responders who served on 9/11 and local Myrtle Beach residents were in attendance for the ceremony.
I'm happy that people are still coming out and getting together and still talking about it, because we can't forget. You know, this is history.
Just watching everybody and watching the pride they have, and the pride they have for their country, is nothing like it.
Remembering the events that happened 20 years ago is hard for many, and the damage done cannot be changed. But the way first responders and the community work together has. The change in that relationship is something the Myrtle Beach mayor questions.
What happened to our unity? What happened to our being kind, respectful, and dignified? What happened to our civility? What happened to our working together to make our nation and our communities stronger?
One former New York police officer recognizes that change.
We were a hurting country, but we were strong together. And now I think we kind of broken that up.
And another former New York police officer, Felix Cruz, says he's seen the lack in unity before.
It comes in cycles. I saw it in the 80s and see it in the 90s, and now I'm seeing it again.
Cruz is hopeful that in time the community will have their back, just like first responders intend to have theirs.
When you need us, you call us. We'll respond. We're going to be there for you.
It was a morning like any other for Barry Jones.
Arrived no differently than any other day for me. Carpooling to work, dropping my wife off at her job down the street from the Pentagon, and arriving at my office minutes later.
His wife Cynthia was actually visiting him at work, which didn't happen that often. While conducting some family business, that's when they got the word.
We had not been there long before a woman on the credit union staff came in screaming that the building was under attack and we should save ourselves.
American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the west side of the Pentagon. Jones says he told his wife to leave the building immediately. Not long after, he got a phone call from his daughter in Florida.
Next, a tiny voice, while crying, asked, "Daddy, are you okay?"
After assuring his daughter they were fine, Jones went to help in any way he could before military service members and first responders flooded the building.
I remember finally being told to go home to rest after my boss asked me when did I eat last. And it dawned on us that it was 2 mornings ago.
20 years have passed since that day. And while Barry tries not to think about the events of 9/11 that often, he understands it's a day that connects all of us.
We're all in this together. It may have happened in Pennsylvania, it may have happened in D.C. or New York, but it affects the entire United States and all of us Americans as one.
125 Pentagon workers died that day.
Well, like many at the time, she was feeling helpless, and she found her answer through music. Now, she says it's still offering her comfort 20 years later, but now she hopes it can offer education for those who were too young to remember.
In the city so tall and mighty, see the people for their lives they're fighting.
I feel people's pain, and I just was broken.
20 years ago, Pamela Cook was like most of the country, eyes glued to the TV, shocked, violated, and confused.
See confusion in the people running, see the firemen and rescue coming.
People were just running around aimlessly.
But through that pain, she saw something that sparked a sliver of comfort.
As I was watching it on TV, I saw angels.
I know your heroes are home.
And she wanted to share that through her talent.
The lyrics just came out, and the melody just came out.
The day left many feeling helpless. Some donated blood, went to church, or showed their patriotism.
And we're gonna stand up and fight.
Through all the horrible things that were going on, finish with that positive note in each line to give hope.
20 years later, she hopes the song puts people there who don't remember and offers a happy ending to those who can't forget.
We'll never be the same, but we will rise.
Now, Pamela has played this song up and down the Grand Strand, but she says one thing that she will always remember is one performance when a New York City firefighter came up to her after she performed the song and said that it offered him comfort.
It's the sound of patriotism. The room fills with the songs of American pride, and that pride remains unshakable as this group of hundreds remembers those who died on 9/11.
It's important that we remember our history, all of our history.
For retired Colonel James 80, even when those memories are painful, like when he thinks about the nearly 3,000 people who died 20 years ago.
If you ignore the mistakes of the past, it'll only get worse in the future.
That's why these people showed up to the Duffy Center at St. Michael Church. Some wear shirts as a reminder to never forget. Each branch of the military also represented.
Despite how bad the day was, it was a day that brought us together as a country.
For Daniel Dobe, those attacks were a call to action, so he joined the Marines.
I kind of felt it was my duty, with our country falling under attack.
He was injured on his tour in Afghanistan.
Everything we did because we wanted to do what was best for those people and ultimately to serve justice, and none of it was in vain.
A former New York City firefighter salutes his fallen comrades, and the American flag is held high in remembrance.
I want, people to walk away with that sense of unity that we had back at that time, that sense of pride in our country.
So even as the country pauses in mourning, that sound of freedom continues to echo through time.